Please do let me know what you think of Lifeforce, those and Death Grip.
So personally, I actually really like them. And in paper, like theory, they are quite good. I mean, just look at this thing. For 2 black mana, enchantment stays around, then 2 black mana, counter target green spell. This thing can sit and counter black spells all day long. Counter red spells, and with Pay the Servant, you just win, right? But the truth is, in practice, it's a whole different. Because the cEDH metagame could be described as a snowball metagame. Now, I often said that the cEDH metagame is something of a Grixis metagame, the Dockside, Adnos, Phasas, Breach, Consult, etc. But something that is very important to be in this game is to be proactive. It more or less means create or control a situation rather than just respond to it after it has happened. For example, sitting with Thrasius or something of the sort and counterspells and just passing turn and interacting with things that are happening is being reactive. And I have criticized counterspells quite a lot on this channel before, and I've seen other YouTube channels also talk about counterspells not really functioning as a control supplement in cEDH pods. You see, to be interactive, you must still be proactive. Like this, for example, Vinota stacks. That's being proactive, and it snowballs. You can gain more and more value by putting more and more things into play. And the more and more you put into play, the stronger and more capable you are getting to put more and more things into play. Henceforth, snowball. Simply by being proactive interaction in the game, you're able to get a stronger and stronger grip on the game, regardless if it is stacks or whatever. The problem these cards create is that you have to sit and hold up mana. You can't be proactive. You're forced to somewhat be reactive. Now, a big reason why I actually wanted to make this video is because Isochron Dramatic Reversal is a great 2-card win con for Thrasius, but you could imprint a Shadow of Doubt or something of the similar sort, which is more or less a very similar thing to Lifeforce concept. And I have actually done this when I don't draw Dramatic Reversal and I kind of want to sit and interact, create a Lifeforce with Isochron Scepter. I've done that a lot. So trust me when I say that I do have a lot of experience with this. And I can guarantee you say that I have never really won a game doing that. I wanna repeat, I have never won a game putting Mana Drain or some variants to Mana Drain, Shadow of Doubt, Silence or anything into Scepter. Similar to how I actually have played Lifeforce 2 and it's never worked either. For a simple reason that you could be sitting just getting left behind. Let's see if I can illustrate my point. Let's say we have a pod where mono black Krick is in the game, or a very heavy black deck so to say, and you put Lifeforce into play. Now you have a card that is like ultimate against that Krick. You're gonna win the 1v1 versus that Krick 100%. But you and Krick are now in something of a wrestling match. You are like locking down each other because Krick is sitting there doing nothing, you're sitting there with Lifeforce doing nothing, and then non-black Joyra could just run off with the match. Now Joyra is just an example here, Krick is just an example too. We could showcase any black deck versus the Lifeforce and any non-black for the other example, the running example, the proactive example. And in this situation, you're preventing yourself from being proactive and you're preventing like a Krick from being proactive while Joyra gets left alone. This is why sometimes people say stacks equals kingmake. And we could literally do this, just swap out Lifeforce to Oppo Agent and then swap out Krick to cEDH. Now cEDH is literally stacked out and can't do anything in theory, while a non-search deck like Joyra gets to draw cards and just run away with everything. But the difference between these two cards, Oppo Agent versus Lifeforce, is that Oppo Agent is like a one-time cost. Lifeforce is not. You have to have your mana open at the ready all time, and sometimes having even more mana available so you can interact with several layers of things put on the stack. Once you cast Oppo Agent, you can continue with whatever game you're on, while with Lifeforce you have to stay in that gameplay mindset. So first you catch cEDH with an Oppo Agent and then you catch Joyra with a Notion Thief. But once again, this is just examples. We could literally showcase an example like this one too. Proactive stacks have to be layer upon layer, more and more and more. And you have to achieve a momentum, with something like Vinota attacking with Ring Wingmare and flipping Thalia into play, growing, putting more problems into play for your opponents, and eventually growing stronger and stronger, until you have a board state that is just too complicated to actually deal with, and you kill your opponents by overrun or performing a form of combo from your deck. I have said this before, but stacks have to develop towards a combo or a form of possible big win con boom. Like a big punch that just finished the game in a really efficient way before your opponents are able to get out of your gridlock, which they will eventually do if they get enough time. So let's go back to this example, Dose and Painter Servant. Now, if you just have enough mana, you can sit and counterspell everything and make sure your opponents can't do anything. And in theory, you won. However, the only thing you've actually created is a 1v3. Because now everyone is just gonna try to focus on getting out of this gridlock and kill you. And here are a few cards that are able to solve that problem. You can't counterspell these things. So what your opponent's gonna do is just wait until they draw into these cards. But also importantly is that if you just have too little mana, let's say that your opponents have 3 interaction pieces in their hand, then you have to keep 6 mana available all time and just pass turn never tapping out. Because the moment you actually tap out to try to win, they're gonna destroy this thing. Or when they just have enough cards in their hand to destroy this thing compared to your mana maximum, then they will destroy this thing too. And this means that you can't progress. You can't be proactive. You can't develop towards a win con, which more or less means that everyone is in top decking mode. I've actually been in a similar situation to this with C-Save Weatherlight Captain. I was able to put Possibility Storm and Dragonite Magistrate into play, and from here my opponents literally can't cast spells anymore. I should win. This is a 2-card combo lock. However, I didn't win. The table was able to teamwork, attack with all creatures they had, and there was a Corvold in play that just punched a little bit too hard compared to what I was able to do. So I died and lost. But there's a difference to these two locks. With the Dragonite Magistrate and Possibility Storm, you don't need to do anything more afterwards. You can focus all your attention, all your mana into progressing towards a win, where in Lifeforce and Painter Servant, you have to sit there and keep your mana available for 3 opponents. I wanna repeat, 3 opponents. I was actually really happy when I saw this question because it gave me an opportunity to actually talk about this stuff, as I do think this is a really important subject. And I have to say, I really like these cards. This is coming from someone that wants these cards to be cool and good. But I've playtested with them a tiny bit and variants to this. So I have some experience trying to put something like this together and trying to win, and I've seen its faults. So this is basically a video that's trying to just showcase a problem you need to think about when you're actually trying to include these cards in your 99. I still think that the cards are okay, you can play them, and I'm not gonna frown upon anyone actually trying to put these cards into play. But it's not as strong as people might think. In practice, it's a lot different compared to theory. And it really showcases why proactive is the way to go, but also this very important concept. I hope you found this entertaining, and thank you so much for watching. And don't be afraid to drop your answers and questions in the comments below of the video.